and welcome to the latest instalment of the Rangers Women's Supporters Group podcast. We've got Car back this week. Welcome back, Car. How are you doing?
Back. All right.
Well, I don't think I need to ask you how you're doing. I think you're quite happy, aren't you?
Yeah, quite happy with how today's turned out. So delighted to be looking forward to another final.
Absolutely. Your birthday weekend as well.
Yeah, I think if the club can make that a tradition, going winning trophies on my birthday, I'd be quite happy with that.
Definitely. So we'll start off with the news that Mason Clark has left the club. They announced it the other day. Obviously, she had been on loan at Motherwell, Car, but now she's left altogether. What do you think of that?
A bit gutting, to be honest, because she was like the future winner for us that we all had envisioned, but I obviously don't know what's happened or where she's gone because we've not had any news saying if she's joined Motherwell permanently or what's going on. But it's a bit gutting, but she obviously needs the game time, so hopefully wherever she goes, she gets a lot more game time, can advance in her career, and hopefully in a few years we'll see her back thriving.
Yeah, definitely. Alan, you were thinking it was something kind of that's going to be happening with other players or whatever moving out. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of develops over the next couple of days.
Yeah, usually when you see a player that's been on loan for a full season getting released in the middle of that, then it's usually a reshuffling so that somebody can actually bring another player in loan. But I'm not 100% sure on how different the loan regulations are for the women's league than they are the men's. So I don't know if it's a limit on players for a certain club or a limit on total loan players they've got in, because I know Motherwell will have quite a few loan players, so it might be that the decision's been made that Mason wasn't getting a new contract in the summer, so the club have allowed her to go now and sort something out. But until the club actually tell us anything, then it's just speculation, really.
Yeah, but we wish her all the best wherever she ends up, and you never know, she might end up back at us one day scoring goals and whatnot. So we'll get straight into the game that we're here to talk about. We obviously visited Celtic at what feels like our own hometown because we're doing so well there. For the Sky Sports Cup semi-final, we started with Vic Essendon goals, Docherty, Eddie, Hill, Hay, Hardy, McCauley, Barnett, Cornett, McLaughlin and Wilkinson. Car, is that kind of what you were expecting?
Yeah, other than me not realising that Innie's out injured, and that confused me not seeing her on the bench or anything. But yeah, pretty much the strongest team that we probably could have played, so I was fairly happy with it.
Yeah, and I think it kind of backed up what we said last week about players coming back in and the way we were kind of going to set up with Mia kind of in that number 10 role again.
Yeah, it's always nice to be vindicated and it look like we actually know what we're talking about. It happens now and again, so it's nice when it does. But as we talked about last week, I think that was very much a team we expected to see.
Yep, definitely. Obviously kicked off very scrappy first half. Car, few tackles flying in. I think probably over the piece were kind of the better team, but it seemed to it looked like it was going to be one of those days again where we're getting a bit of an advantage and then we're giving them a bit, and it was just kind of to and fro, and it was a bit all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, both teams didn't really find a rhythm. It was kind of all over the place for most of the first half. We had a good few chances that we probably should have scored from. Mia had a great shot from outside, well, just inside the box that went high over the bar, but they had a couple of chances that just went wide. And to quote Amy McDonald that was on commentary, it was very spicy. The teams were just going at each other, a few tasty pullbacks, challenges, tackles. I think both teams were a bit nervous. So they were struggling a wee bit to get into the rhythm, but it never really came to much, and then it just fizzled out towards the end of the first half.
Yeah, and what was your take on that first half?
Probably quite agree with what Carl's seen on the TV. I thought both teams looked really, really nervous under pressure at the back, but it was really who was going to make the first mistake, because neither team was enjoying being pressed. But I think the frustrating thing for us that we weren't pressing often enough, because it was clear that when we were actually pressing the back line they had, then we were actually looking like we're going to get some joy, but we dropped off far too much. As much as we can go and press for 90 minutes solid, it'd be nice to see us press a bit longer and a bit more than we did. Most pleasing thing for me was we hadn't sort of changed shape. We would stuck to the shape that we're familiar with. After the games before Christmas, we'd changed shape and tried something different, and it hadn't worked. So I was confident that if we just kept at it, then we could actually get some joy in the game. It was just a wee bit concerning that we were looking shaky at the back, and the regular thing that we concede goals from, going and challenging for balls that we can't win. We're still seeing some of that happening. So it was just nerves at the back.
Yeah, for that kind of first 15, 20 minutes, I think we were really pressing, and then we kind of started to sit off them a bit. Did you see Joe? Did they go to Joe at all? Kind of changing anything that you seen? Because we couldn't really see Joe because we were moved to the opposite end of the stand this time.
No, they weren't really showing Jo all that much, to be honest. She clearly wasn't as animated as normal, so they didn't really have much to show of her. But you could see that, like, the first, as you say, 15, 20 minutes, we're all over them. We're just running at them, taking balls off them. Mia especially was doing great. Liv, it's just what Liv does, but was just taking the ball off them and not letting them have anything. And then we just kind of, I don't know, slowed down, sat back a little bit and gave them a bit more of the ball and invited that pressure for some reason. I don't know if that's a tactic that Jo was wanting them to do, just to conserve a bit of energy potentially, but I don't know, when the game's, in the early stages and you've got a game to go and win first, it doesn't make sense to do that.
Yeah, Alan, we obviously noticed being at the game that the warm-ups were very different for the two teams, which maybe was why we started kind of conserving a bit of energy. We were at first, we were still out, they were already kind of back in, so I think that kind of played into the reason why it changed.
I'm not sure, but it was very strange to see such a very difference in the warm-up times. You'd expect if we were out first, we'd probably go in first, but it was clear we probably warmed up for an extra 10, maybe even as much as 15 minutes more. So it was strange to see, but I'm not sure I've seen us do anything in the warm-up that really justified us being so sort of placid in the first half.
Yeah, so we went in 0-0, and then all the action happened in the second half. Came out, and I think, as Alan said perfectly at the game, they must have been sat in their coffee at half time because we came out absolutely flying, which we love to see. And Rio got us off the mark on 48 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we scored from a corner, kind of. I mean, it's not direct from a corner, but I'll count it as a scoring from a corner. But that ball in from Brogan to play Rio, Rio comes running in and puts the ball in the back of the net. But that ball from Brogan is just perfect. She couldn't have done any more with that. I'm assuming that's who she was aiming for, or she was just putting it into that area and hoping somebody would run onto it. But it's a beautiful goal. Sets us up perfectly. It's only 47 minutes. So straight after halftime, come out, score. Makes them have to come out and play, gives us a little bit of breathing room there, which is great to see. But again, that ball from Brogan was superb.
Yeah, it was a weird one for where we were sitting, Alan, because we weren't sure what part of Rio's body it came off. We weren't sure if she'd headed it in or what had happened, but we watched it back at the game, and obviously it was a really good goal in the end.
Yeah, and as Carl says, it was a ball in for Brogan. Initially, we weren't actually sure it looked the best ball in at the game, but she just put it into the right sort of area that we really need strikers attacking, and Rio attacks the spaces probably better than anybody else we've got in the books. So, she's made the space for herself, and she's been determined to win that ball. And, it doesn't matter how they go in the end, as long as they're at the back of the net. And it's a really, really good way to start the second half early, because it had been so scrappy, it had been end to end, and it looked like somebody was going to make a mistake. And it would have been easy for us to be real up against it if we conceded first. So coming out and scoring early in the second half was a massive lift.
Yeah, then it didn't take long for us to make it 2-0 Car. An absolutely sensational free kick from Wilco. At the game, Graham was saying, "Oh, it'll be Lizzie that's taking it." I was like, "Absolutely not." Just all day long, and she proves why.
I mean, to be fair, they both stood either side of the ball looking like they were going to, and they both kind of started to do a run up. So even on commentary, they didn't know who was going to take it because they couldn't tell. But as soon as Wilco starts running towards that ball, it's going in. Keeper has no chance. She could be 6 feet tall and she's not saving that. It's just perfectly placed into that top corner. But the foul that leads to the free kick, I mean, they brought Cav on because that's what they do. They bring her on to bite ankles and go after folk, and immediately gives away free kick. And all their fans are raging about it, which I find quite funny. So just it's a wonderful free kick. If that was in the men's game, it'd be lauded forever. So we need to do the same because it's absolutely sensational from Wilco.
Yeah, she seems to like a goal against them, doesn't she, Alan?
Yeah, I think that's maybe a 4th goal against Celtic this season. So, she's coming up and she's scoring in big games. So, as a star signing, you can't really ask for a great deal more. And it's an absolute banger, a free kick. As Carl says, it should be getting talked about and raved about for weeks.
Yeah, definitely. We'll just talk about it for weeks. If nobody else does, we'll just talk about it for weeks. Got a bit bizarre after this car. A couple of minutes later, Joe gets sent off. But again, for where we were starting, we seen her running over. We thought it was Elena because it's always Elena that gets sent off. And then we seen Joe kind of just bit perplexed at the fact she was getting sent off. Let us know what happened since you watched it on TV.
Well, I mean, initially I didn't see what happened because the camera hadn't even really panned over until the ref ran over, so we didn't see what led up to it. And then they rewound back, and the ball goes out for a throw-in. She keepy ups the ball, takes the ball, and then hides it from, I don't know who, it's one of the Celtic players, doesn't give it back. The ref then comes over and gives her a red card for it. I initially thought she'd shouted something at the ref or Elena or someone to merit a straight red card, but that's never a red card. I mean, potentially a yellow if she's time wasting. That's what they put it down to, but it's her throwing, so she's not time wasting. She's just stopping them time wasting by not giving them the ball. So it's never a red card. That'll get overturned immediately, but that's horrendous refereeing. For her to give her a red card for that is bizarre.
Yeah, especially when it's the all-women team and then they're still making blunders. Alan, we obviously never seen it that very great, but just absolutely bizarre that she got a straight red for that when Elena seems to get away with murder half the time.
Yeah, and at the game we were surprised that we'd actually get thrown, and we stood up, we're trying to work out what's going on, and I think at least some of us thought that Joe had been stopping them taking a quick throw in. Then we realised they'd actually gave us the throw in because Liz had dummied it, but it actually went out. So we just assumed that it was their throw in, and no, the refs gave us the ball but sent Joe off. And probably the highlight is some absolutely appalling decisions on both sides from the referee. So absolute a shocking performance. And we talk about refs every week, and it gets a bit boring, and we're not wanting to just pan people all the time when we're trying to grow and develop in the game. It's a big game, semi-final, it's an all-female lineup. That's isn't because, it was a woman officiating. She was just garbage. She lost control of the game in the first half and running over a red card Joe for what nobody can understand or even predict what she's done it for, then it's absolutely mental.
Yeah, Kat, and then Elena got a yellow card, but obviously kind of a few minutes later. But then she continued to shout at the officials, particularly the lines person, and she still stayed on for a change.
I mean, make it make sense. It's just incompetence, really. It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to give a red card for that, then surely, shouting directly at the referee is worse than just holding a ball from an opposition player, which Elena does a lot for us, by the way. How many times has Nick had to go and grab the ball off of her? Kathy's had to do it numerous times, and she's never been carded for it. So it's just, I don't even know what it is. It's just madness. Hopefully we never have that ref again. Like, no harm to her, but she needs to go back and get some more training or something because it's just bizarre. The calls that she got wrong for both sides and that was just horrendous.
Yeah, definitely. Another week we talk about refs. When will it end? One day we won't talk about refs.
Given where we play next week, if Joe's red card doesn't get overturned, does she have to stand in the balcony at a cafe and watch the game at Spartans next week?
Well, possibly. At least she'll be able to get her cup of tea easy rather than somebody having to bring it round to her. So every cloud and all that. Kirsty Howitt came on 72 minutes, which I think was a much needed change by that point, Alan, because Rio had absolutely ran our socks off.
Yeah, literally with the big holes in the back of Rio's socks that she's always playing in. But we talked before, these subs, the game was getting quite scrappy, it was getting quite stretched, and we had the 2-0 lead, we had that wee bit of comfort, but we really needed to get some fresh legs on. Rio got herself booked in the first half for getting fed up, getting absolutely nothing off the referee and shoving one, Shannon McGregor or whoever it was. She get booked for that, so it did temper a wee bit some of the pressing Rio could do. So, getting some fresh legs on was key, and Kirsty came on and she continued just running her socks off.
Yeah, she nearly got an assist as well, Car. She played a beautiful ball through at one point, and it was really unlucky that nobody really got an end it, but she came on and just kind of picked up where Rio left off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure if that was a shot or if it was a ball in to try and, potentially play Wilco in, but Wilco got very close to it, so it nearly could have been, she just came on and, got an assist for it, but she did everything she needed to do. She was running exactly, as you said, Rio was running before she went off, so it's exactly what you want with your strikers, just getting about them and not give them any time to breathe or make a pass or settle down at all, which is exactly what she did.
Yeah, the Cammy came on for Brogan, Alan, and she came on and just was really industrial in that again, as she always does, gives 100% with loads of energy, and it was exactly what we're needing at that point because it was starting to get a bit flat, so we needed that kind of energy, especially when they were trying to get back into the game.
Yeah, it's always surprising when you look at Cammy and she's so small, but she's got so much sort of fight in her. She was getting involved. She was holding the ball up. She was making sure she wasn't letting them break, and she was just actually making some passes and just getting a wee bit more time in the ball for us. So, I thought she had a really good showing when she came on.
Yeah, then we had some of the dark arts for Vic Carr. She had a wee lie down just to do a wee bit of time waste. I know my leg needs a wee rub here. And I think it's something that we've kind of needed to see for our team about that kind of just time waste and kind of frustrate them for a change.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she actually did have cramp because she looked like a minute before that she was struggling a little bit, and then there was a moment after that where I think she punched a ball out, and then it looked like somebody had almost caught her in the chest, and she was struggling a little bit. She was stretching a lot, so I don't know if she was actually struggling a bit and also providing us a little bit of breathing space. But if every other team can do it, why can't we? So it's exactly what you want. And she probably did need a bit of a breather because she was doing everything she needed to do in that game, coming out, commanding her box, punching balls away and not making sure that they can't get in the box and involved. So, if everyone else does it, we can do it too. It's fine.
Yeah, it makes a nice change. After that, we had Jane and Jodie come on for Wilco and Mia, and again, Alan, I think a well-deserved rest for those two because they were absolutely phenomenal and good to see. Obviously, Jane coming on to get some minutes and Jodie coming back on and getting minutes as well.
Yeah, listen, Jane came on and helped us get up the park, and threatened the top end, and was unlucky along with Kirsty Howitt not to be involved in us maybe getting a third goal that would have put some real gloss on it. And Jodie just came on to be an absolute pest and a workhorse and, just literally ran through half the Celtic team. So referee wasn't going to bother. So, she made the most of that and, just helped add a bit of bite to the team and kill the game a wee bit.
Yeah, I think in these games you can see that the players are really starting to buy into kind of the rivalry car. And as Alan said, Jodie coming on is just steamrollers. We know that she loves this fixture, being a Rangers fan. So it's good to see that it's kind of starting to happen because for too long we were too nice and gave them too much respect.
Yeah, I never understood why we did that. Like, we hate them, so why would we allow them that freedom? Like, it makes no sense to me, but I don't think you need to give Jodie any invitation to come on and be a menace, because that's... But she does it tactfully and skillfully. She's not just, flying into tackles and pulling people over. She's actually skillfully doing it, which, is exactly what you want. But, we need subs that can come on and change games, and while they've not necessarily completely changed the game when they've come on, they've provided us that little bit of more energy to keep the game going, because it could have just fizzled out. They could have pulled one back, potentially time for them to get another, and then we're back where we were at the home fixture when it's 2-0 to us, and then it comes back to 2-2. So you don't want that to happen, especially in a cup game. So exactly what you needed: fresh legs and a fresh rejuvenation from the young team. Well, Jodie, but the rest.
Don't tell
Jane
Jane.
will be delighted being included in that young team car.
She's still got a lot of life in her.
Well, it did kind of fuzz a little bit, Alan, because it got really flat again, and then obviously, as always happens, they managed to pull a goal back, which left a nervous 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah, I think must have been about the 88th or 89th minute, and then I got a bit nervous, and then eventually put up 5 minutes injury time, and I completely lost track where or not it was before or after the injury time went up. They scored, but it was poor. We really have to defend the front post a bit better. It was, given how well Vic had done commanding the box, overall as a unit, you'd have expected us to do better there, but it just left a fair bit of pressure coming into our box the last few minutes. But thankfully we held out. We had enough sort of energy in the team, to hold out, and didn't have to run the risk of dropping a 2-goal lead in the last few minutes that would have put us into extra time and way behind trying to actually win the game. So we've seen it out, and we can actually look forward to March now.
Yeah, we did manage to see it, Car, but for once, could we just have it a nice, a nice easy game, a nice clean sheet? No, it just never seems to happen. They've always got to have us living on the edge.
I mean, it's no good for me, having stomach problems and then sat watching that feeling comfortable, and then that happens, and it wasn't good. But it was the 91st minute, so it was in injury time that she scored. So there's only like 4 minutes left anyway, but that is plenty of time for them to get another goal. But we just made it a bit more comfortable, just settle down, and if we could keep it tight. But there's not much Vic could have done for that goal, to be honest. The last thing Emma Lawton pulls away from, I think it's Kathy, so it's really Kathy that you need to try and do a bit better then. But we won the game, so it doesn't, and at the end of the day, it's a cup game, so it doesn't matter how you win it as long as you win it and you're into the final. So I'm not going to be too raging at them for that.
Yeah, well, we won, so it's fine. We'll let you off, guys. It's fine. So, Alan, we've got obviously into the next round. Well, the final actually. It's the final, and we play Hibs again. We've seen this story before, so hopefully it's got the same ending.
Oh, definitely. It was a really good day out a couple of years ago when we went to the first Sky Sports Cup final at Tynecastle. Beat Hibs 2-0, where goal of the season for Lizzie Arnott and a cracking goal for Kirsty Howitt. So, more of the same would be lovely when we go there in March. But Hibs are a much improved team. Hibs obviously showed just before Christmas, they will cause us serious problems if we're not on good form and at a high level. So I think the players will know that. I think talking to the players, you heard them just as well as I did, Laura. They're itching to set a record straight, and cup final will probably come just after we play them again in the league, maybe. But it's certainly a game that we can go there with confidence and win, but not so much that we can take it for granted if we don't actually turn up.
Yeah, we seem to have the knack of these games so Car, so I think we should be fine. And I think there should be a better crowd this time, because last time it was winter time and it was kind of a poor crowd, but I think they should have kind of do turn it in quite good numbers, so it should make for quite a good day.
Yeah, I think it depends, because I don't know if they don't like going to Tynecastle, which I could understand, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't like to go to their place if we had a final there, so I get it. But hopefully, as a better crowd, hopefully we play with width, because it's a big pitch and we do well if we play with width. So if we can just continue to play with width, we'll be fine. If we go back to playing weird, tight formations, then I don't know. But it's definitely not going to be, as Alan says, a formality. It's not going to be one that we just turn up and win. Hibs have improved a lot. They've recruited really well. So I'm guessing the team will be really up for it and to go out and show that this is our cup. We've won it, twice in a row now. So got to get that three-peat and cement our name on that trophy for the next year.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely one they're looking forward to, but we kind of have to park that and get back to setting the record straight in the league. So, player of the match for today, Alan? If you could pick one.
Probably very difficult, but I'll lean towards Rio. I thought she led the line absolutely brilliant. She was able to support it by Wilco, who had a great game beside her, but Rio spearheaded the press, and she got us on the score sheet, got us off the mark with first goal. So I think that was massive. First goal in these games can be so important, and Rio's just as likely as Wilco to score first goal. So I'll say player of the match was Rio.
Do you agree with that, Car?
I'm struggling, to be honest. I mean, there was a moment in the game where Brogan ran past about 6 of them spinning and twirling, and I was like, Brogan's getting it. And then Mia kept doing her thing, and then Liv was just there doing everything that she does, and genuinely don't know. Obviously, Liv's got it, the player of the match from BBC Alba, so it's nice to hear her interview after the game, but you could honestly pull of a hat pick any of them. But I'll give it to Mia. She, kind of ran under the radar a little bit recently. She's not had as much. She's kind of been benched a few times, so good to see her back and running right as she normally does. So I'll give it to Mia.
I think I'll give it to Lizzie, to be honest. She had a bit of edge to her today. She was a bit feisty. I don't think I've ever seen her that angry and kind of feisty. You expect it to feel like Nick and Rio and Wilco and that day, but Lizzie had a bit of edge to her today, and just as she does. Just for a wee change, I think although her she was really good, but it's hard to pick because I think everybody did up their game. Wilco's goal was absolutely fantastic. We're watching that on repeat the rest of the week. Obviously, Rio was great. Mia, Brogan, Liv, literally everybody really. Vicky even had a good game, obviously conceded, but as you say, it wasn't really her fault. But yeah, just a really good team performance. So we'll hopefully kick on and continue that next week. We've got Spartans, Alan, so that should be another one that we can get a few goals in, hopefully.
I would like to think we'll go flying into the Spartans game on a high after today. We obviously came back after the winter break. The players are talking about how they're feeling really good. They've put a lot of work in over the winter. So I'd expect us to go to Spartans and put on a bit of a show. Hopefully start getting a bit lighter, a bit warmer, a bit better for players playing in, and hopefully we'll go and actually start stretching our legs and putting on some performances again. We'll obviously wait to see when the final's going to be, but I think sometimes we move looking ahead to the final, we kind of move to grass pitches and don't always put on great performances. So I'd quite like to see a club maybe move the game before the final to Ibrox and get us playing on grass, ready for a cup final. But Sunday first, game at a time, as everybody says. So
we'll circle back to that point, Karen. But next week, Spartans, it feels like it's been forever since we played Spartans.
Well, it has, because we played them at home, and then it's been ages. Because I think we normally play them pre-season, but we didn't this year, so it does feel like it's been forever since we've been, through that end of Edinburgh. So it's always a good place to go. They're always very welcoming. It's quite a nice pitch and stadium, so to speak. It's not really a stadium, but yeah. So it is one that we should hopefully go and score a good few goals in. They've obviously lost a few players. I don't really know if they've recruited anyone. I've not really been paying that much attention to them, but it's one that we should go out and be quite comfortable in, and as Alan says, hopefully put on a good performance, a few more goals, set us back up. And then we've got no one till February.
I think, yeah. The second is the next game, eh?
Oh,
I think so.
What was that, Alan?
I think that's the next game. I think there's a break weekend.
Yeah, there is.
Weekend.
Yeah, we don't have anyone after Spartans till the 6th of February, 9th of February.
So no, the second. We've not got a game the second.
2nd of February, we play Montrose in the Cup at Broadwood.
Yeah.
I forgot about that for some reason, but we've got a chance to go out and, settle back into it. It's not like it's big game after big game where you've got the potential of, banana skins. So just go out and put in a good performance, and hopefully the weather's a bit better and it's not absolutely freezing. But it seems to have warmed up a bit, so good.
Yeah. So would you change the team much from today, Alan? Do you think maybe Jodie will come back in? Maybe Megan will get to see the light of day and get some minutes?
I think we'd love to see Megan and Jodie playing, a lot more, but I would like us to actually not be changing the team week in, week out. I think it's got to be really important we get momentum and rhythm. We'll have a mixture of games, but we've seen the development of Hearts and Hibs this season. The post-split games are going to be mega, mega tough. And they're going to be tough for all the teams in the top six, but we need to get as much momentum and rhythm into the team as possible. So I'd quite like us to go with the same 11, or at least minimal changes.
What about you, Car?
I mean, the only change that I really foresee is maybe Jenna being back in the goal if she's, feeling better and doing okay. With Vic seemingly being the cup keeper, probably will be Jenna will be back in. But for everyone else, I probably wouldn't change the starting 11. I would like Megan to get some game time. So if we go out and for some reason score 5 goals in the first half, I'd like Alexa, Camille, Megan, Jodie, some of the younger ones to get some game time if we can afford it. But it just depends how the game goes. But I'd rather we, as Alan says, have a bit of, I can't remember the word, fluidity. So everybody's kind of the same. We build that momentum, we keep things going, and hopefully that's the case. But with Joe, you never know. It might be a whole new starting 11 next week. You never know.
Hell, you never know. This is true. We might also have an assistant manager in by that point as well, so they might have a say in that as well. Apparently, interviews have been done. We weren't any part of those, so we'll find it. Fortunately. So it's going back to Alan's point, Car. Do you think we will move the game ahead of the final to Ibrox? Would that be something you would like to happen to kind of get used to the bigger pitch, the grass pitch?
I mean, it's always nice when we move a game to Ibrox. I mean, the only possible game would be Aberdeen in February, and then before that would be Hearts.
Yep.
So, I mean, potentially, but it depends how that works with the men's schedule, because I haven't got that in front of me to see if there's any clashes there. But, we'd like to have a game there, and nice if it wasn't a massive game that decides silverware. So if it could be the likes of Aberdeen, that'd probably be better than, say, Hearts, because they're quite a difficult team. But then on a bigger pitch, it might bode us quite well. So I would like it, but I'm sure Donald and that are having talks about it all the time because they seem pretty, insistent on having a lot of games there. So hopefully.
Yeah, just looking, it looks like the men are at home this Saturday. I think I'm looking at that right. So it would probably be fine to move it. But would you want a Hearts game moved, Alan, or would you rather have that at Broadwood?
I'd probably think that not a bad game to move. It should attract a decent crowd. We have to get the team used to playing at Ibrox and playing in front of bigger crowds. We have to look at ways that are going to grow the support. I think we grow it quicker playing at Ibrox more, but we need to get crowds up more before we can justify doing that. So, I think Hearts would be a really good test if that was the last game before the final, but I think the post-split games will come in before the final, so it might be whoever we play first. Post-split is the game before the final.
Yeah, certainly interesting. So we'll see what happens there. Alan, you were at a game before today's game because you're an absolute madman. Our players were playing. How did they get on?
Again, we've talked on the sort of loan reports, that some of the best players this season that have been doing well, been Sophie Townsley and Abby Tobin at Hamilton. They started again on the left wing for Hamilton, and they had excellent games again. Hamilton beat Livingston quite comfortably, and Summer Laird and Mia McCarthy were playing at the back for Livingston. So they done pretty well, but Livingston are struggling a wee bit. They've lost their managers, so it was good to see four of our girls starting, and Kirsten Love came off the bench for Hamilton. So in terms of watching our young players, it was quite fruitful. But Sophie Townsley and Abby Tobin have definitely been standouts on loan. Our girls that are out on loan, beyond obviously Laura Berry, but Laura Berry's in a class of her own, isn't she, Carl?
We don't have time, Alan.
Actually, Carl, you weren't here last week when we spoke about Laura Berry's contract, so the floor is yours if you want. You can say how much that made your Christmas.
Oh, it absolutely made my Christmas. I was buzzing about that, but I was half expecting it to be she's signed a contract extension and she's coming back to Rangers in January. That would have just really sealed the deal with that, but unfortunately not. She'll stay at Motherwell for the next 6 months and then come back to us, which, I suppose she needs the experience and whatnot, but I'd rather she be with us. Not that she'd probably get any game time with Wilco and Rio and Jane and Sarah Ewan's being back, but yeah, absolutely buzzing with that. I think everybody could figure that was going to happen as soon as that happened. So, but it's good that Joe and Donald and whatnot have sat down and said we need to get her tied up. We need to get this sorted quickly. So then, if somebody does come in for it, we'll at least get something for her. And we've got her tied up for a few years. So yeah, buzzing with that.
Yeah, I think wouldn't want to be Donald that if they let her go, you'll be hunting them. You'll be hunting them down.
I'd be fucking very demanding. Let me see Donald.
Exactly. So we'll kind of leave it there. The Spartans tickets should go on sale at some point this week. They don't seem to be on fan base yet, but it's the same app that they use, that Celtic obviously use as well. So keep an eye on that during the week. I'm sure it'll probably go up on the group. Graham's usually on top of these things, so keep an eye on the page. And we'll hopefully see you there. Thank you as always to Alan and Car for joining me this evening.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, Laura, and good to see you back, Carl.
Thanks.
Yes, absolutely. Right, I will see you next week.